Hello, this is the Watchdog. Welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to review the Tianas Newman. Let's start out with the wrist check. Since I'm reviewing a Paul Newman, I'm wearing my Pagani Design PD 1676 Paul Newman. And Grogo is wearing my Addy's Dive MY-H2 Flieger Type A watch. Grogo is upset they are making a special edition of the Star Wars Holiday Special. They are using CGI to replace B. Arthur with Jar Jar Binks. He said that is probably to make it more appealing to younger audiences. I said one bad appeal don't spoil the whole bunch, Grogu. Alright, let's take a look at the watch. It comes in this box with a bow on it. Tianas is the only boxes I've ever had with bows on it. Doesn't seem very man-watchy, but oh well, that's what they do. And here's the watch. This one didn't even come with an unsigned warranty card. It just came with the pillow, which is fine. So here it is. Isn't that a nice looking watch? It does look a lot like a Paul Newman. This is the second Tianas on my channel. I've been calling it the Tianas Newman because I can't find a reference number anywhere. In actuality, only the Panda looks like a Paul Newman Daytona, where the reverse Panda looks like a more modern Daytona. This Tianas seems to be a really good value. I paid just under $30, and for that you're getting solid stainless steel and a sapphire crystal, which is usually unheard of at this price range. This is of course a quartz watch, but not a mecha quartz. But the big second hand is also the chronograph hand, which is also rare for a chronograph at this price. The watch is 39.2 millimeters at the bezel, 47.8 millimeters lug to lug, 52.4 millimeters if you count the protruding end links. It's 12.8 millimeters thick, has a 20 millimeter lug width, and weighs 130 grams on the supplied bracelet with no links removed. Yes, you heard me, no links removed. This is like the other Tianas. The bracelet is just too short. The bezel is metal, which is a lot more like the original Paul Newman Daytona. The Paul Newman Daytona came in two different types of bezels, one metal and one black. And the Paul Newman, though, had a metal bezel one. So if you want it to look more like the Paul Newman that Paul Newman actually wore, then this is a good choice. Then we have a tachymeter on the bezel. You'll never use it, but if you do use it, at least the big second hand is the chronograph hand, so it's somewhat usable. And then the dial is a white cream color. It has the Tianas name and logo up top and no other writing on the dial. Then we have a chapter ring with the sub-seconds and sub-minutes. I don't know if this chapter ring was necessary or not, but it makes it look more like the real thing. Although the real thing had a red chapter ring instead of white. If you look at the Pagani Design I have, that one has red. Personally, I think the white is a lot easier to read. Red on a black background isn't always the best thing. Then the indices are just these little dots on the chapter ring. They are Lume, but they're not very big at all, and the Lume's not very good. Then the hands, we just have these stick hands. This is a lot like the Daytonas of that time period. And then the second hand has this arrow tip. But this second hand is not lumed. And once again, this is the chronograph second hand. The running second hand is this bottom subdial. Now, it looks like these subdial hands are lumed, but they are not. They are white, but they are not lumed. Then we have a date at the 4:30. A Daytona doesn't have a date, but I like having a date, and I don't mind it there. Then we have the three subdials. The one on the right is a 24-hour indicator, pretty much useless. The one on the bottom is the running second hand, and the one on the left is the chronograph minutes. Has an unsigned screw-down crown. This provides 50 meters of water resistance, and the pushers actually have locks too. Although at 50 meters, I don't know if you'd want to take this in the water or not. That's up to you. Maybe shallow water. Then the crown, you unscrew it. You got a nice pop when it's unscrewed. And the threads catch nice and easy when you screw it back down. So it's good thread action. Unfortunately, setting the watch can be a chore because it's a cheap quartz watch, and we have that annoying habit of these quartz watches where you go to set them and you press in the crown and things start to move when you press it, and then you get a little jump when you push it in. So it makes setting the watch a pain. That's the biggest bane of these really cheap quartz watches. Then the pushers. The top pusher, of course, starts the chronograph. As you can see, this is not a mecha quartz, so the hand ticks once a second, not 5 times a second. And then when you go to stop it, just press it again, and the reset button does a fast rewind, not an instant snap back, because once again, this is not a mecha quartz. The crystal is a flat sapphire that sticks up just a little bit above the bezel. One might not believe that a watch under $30 would have a sapphire crystal, but it does, and I will prove it to you. Sapphire. The case is solid stainless steel. It's polished on the sides and the lug tops, but it's brushed on the bottoms. Then the case back is a screw down coin edge. I don't see any slots for a press on, plus you get 50 meters of water resistance. Would have been nice if they would have gave us 100, because you got screw down crown, pushers, and case back, but all we get is 50, which is, I guess, is still better than 30. Then this is the Rolex style coin edge, so there's no writing on it at all. I don't know the movement. I'm assuming it's Chinese, because if it was Japanese, they would brag about it. And once again, the big second hand is the chronograph hand, which is rare for a very cheap Chinese movement. Then the bracelet is solid steel with solid end links. We got polished center links, and we got push pin adjusters. I don't know how well they work because I didn't remove any links, but usually I prefer push pins to screw pins now. At first, when I got into watches, I thought, oh wow, screw pins, how cool. But push pins just seem to work so much better. They don't ever fall out of me, where screw pins, if you don't tighten them enough, they might fall out, and if you tighten them too much, you can strip them. And if you ever break one of these pins, they're really easy to replace. Good luck finding a screw that fits your watch exactly. Then we have a butterfly clasp with no micro adjust, because it's a butterfly clasp and it doesn't have any half links either. It does work well. It stays shut, and it's a push button, and there's no signing and there's no direction, so you can close it in either direction. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. Looks nice, wears nice, but once again, I remove no links. So if your wrist is bigger than 7.5, you cannot wear this watch as is. I don't know if you can contact the manufacturer and ask them if they can include an extra link or two when you order it. Of course, these links look pretty standard size, so maybe you can find some links that fit it. But remember, you need one with push pins and not screw pins. Here we are in the Lume room. I decided, since I had an extra Pagani design Newman, I'd do a side-by-side comparison. As I speed up the time, both watches are fading fairly quickly. They are just about even, but I give a very slight edge to the Tianas. Not that the Lume is good, just not quite as substandard as the Pagani design, but overall, not very good Lume. What do I like about this watch? Well, it looks a lot like a Paul Newman Daytona. It's got the subdials, the bezel, the dial. It looks great. I like the fact that it has a solid steel case and not a chrome-plated alloy. And I like the fact that the big second hand is the chronograph hand and not the running second hand. What are my gripes and groans? Well, as you can see, the chronograph hand is misaligned. The minute hand jumps when setting it. I don't like the fact it has a coin edge case back, requiring special tools to open it. And I don't like the fact that it has a butterfly clasp because you don't get any micro adjust. And I don't like the fact that the bracelet is just too short for bigger wrists. Do I recommend this watch? Yes. You are getting a solid stainless steel watch and a sapphire crystal for under $30. That's pretty impressive. So unless you have a huge wrist and just can't wear it due to the size, then I recommend this watch. You are getting quite a bit of watch for the money, and it does look a lot like a Paul Newman if that is your goal. Well, thank you for watching my review of the Tianas Newman, and I will be back with another review. Be sure and like and subscribe to my channel. Bye.